Yeah. So Chris, kind of tell us a little bit about yourself, kind of where you grew up and where you went to school and things along that line. What's your background here in Louisville? What's your
Yeah,
credibility in Louisville?
credibility in Louisville. I'd say I've spent the majority of my life here in Louisville. I went to
Hmm.
Manual. That's where we met, specifically the Youth Performing Arts School. So I'm pretty familiar with a few people you've had on here so far
Yeah.
because we were all together there at Manual, working on music together, creating art together. So that was really cool, and I'd probably say that's really where I grew into loving art and loving
Mm.
music as a whole. So,
Yes.
I went there, and then from there, I went to U of L, majored in marketing. I recently graduated, and still making music throughout. So it's just been a really cool venture. I absolutely love Louisville, and I'm glad I'm able to join you today.
Absolutely, Chris. Yeah, that's awesome, bro. I like what you're saying about when you being at YPass and we were all together there. Like a lot of us, a lot of the people I've had on this podcast, like you were
Yeah,
saying, they were at YPass, so we've been able to have some discussions about that. But you
right.
just said that's kind of where you fell in love or really enjoyed like making art. Speak
Yeah.
about that. What was the YPass experience like? What was that like for you, and what about it really made you fall in love with music and like in making art? About speak on that.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll preface it with this. Before going into Y passes, I'm sure a lot of people similar to me found is that you have this talent, you have this want to learn something more, and you've picked up an instrument most likely, you've worked on acting in your free time most likely, but until that point, you really haven't hit a stride with it. And
Yeah.
going into YPass really formalized it for me. You're around a group of people who share that same passion as you do, and it's
Right.
it's really cool because before YPass it was really just me. It was just me loving what I was doing and trying to get the most out of it. But the minute you're immersed into a group of people that love the same thing as you do
Yeah.
and push you day to day, it's a really cool experience. So I found YPass to be an incredibly enjoyable experience. At times too much. You're around so many
Oh
people
man.
that are just engulfed in music where after that 4 years is up, it feels like you went through something really, really special that few people are able to experience. And I'll tell you what, like, you definitely feel a natural pressure to pursue music going into college, coming out of YPass. That's something I struggled with. You see all your peers going like a concert hall music route out of college, and it's
Hmm.
something you have to take a step back and think, do I want to go that route because I really feel that way, or do I want to go that route because I've been immersed in this 4 year program and it's almost I'm engulfed in it every day, so I'm just getting pressured into that route. That's something I faced.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome, man. Yeah, I will agree. There was. It's one thing when it's just you and you have the opportunity to make create something, but then when you're around, even just not even the individuals that were in the band, but in a whole building with people that are into music, into art,
Right.
it really does push you. Even though the band program was the best, but that's a whole
Well,
nother
it's
topic.
and it's cool because we got to experience even GSA, where
Right.
all people from all over the state come in, and for so many people it's like, oh my god, I've never experienced this before. It's like, this is crazy,
It's like,
but like
man, we
I'm
do
sitting
this
there
every
like
day.
I and that's not even like bragging or anything. It's just
Yeah,
how lucky we were to be in an
exactly. It's very,
environment.
very humbling and like a very thankful. Yeah.
Right. So I definitely say that's where my love for music really not started, but um, blasted off. Lack of a better word.
Blast it off.
Yeah.
Blast it off. Well, that's awesome, dude. You are still doing music and you've got this new job.
Yeah.
What is your creative process like? So, with the music, and then you were just saying you're learning about how to market, like consumer marketing and how to market to individuals. What is your creative process like as a whole now that you've kind of got two different things that you're kind of? Do you find yourself like? I mean, if you knowing about marketing, that's obviously going to help you with putting out your music, right?
Well, yeah. No, no. I see what you're saying. Are you asking like how I approach music creatively?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Um, that's a tough question. I know that changes for everyone,
Yeah.
but it's tough, man. Like, I've really come over the years, especially the past year or so, to stop forcing it. And there used to be a time right when I started putting music out, especially on Spotify, where I would force it and I would try to create something that people would for sure want to listen to. And I feel like that boxed me into a certain point. So over the years, I've really tried to take a step back and create music more organically and when I feel inspired. But yeah, I mean, if you want to break it down to like what instrumentally I start with, typically when I create something, I start with the keys, I start with the melody. And I feel like that really lets me, gives me a good place before I even begin. After that, I usually start to incorporate drums, incorporate harmonies, but I think by starting off with chords is really where I tend to begin. I mean, a few people I draw inspiration of at the top of my head, guys like Pink Sweats. I mean, lately I've been listening to the entire catalog of like Bon Iver. I love his sound because it draws you in. It's such a unique
It's unreal.
sound.
It's amazing.
Dude, his music is crazy. I mean, I love...
It's so abstract, but it's so beautiful. And
it's so cool.
Yeah, it's so cool, yeah.
There's this group I found. I think it's a duo, and they're called Drama. And their music's gorgeous, too. I mean, I love R&B music. I love like girls like Snow Allegra. Beautiful music. Summer Walker. I love more alternative bands. A local band somewhat local that I really like is Houndmouth. I mean, I think that they're super talented. So I try to listen to as much like types of music as possible. I love jazz music, and I know you do too. We play in jazz band together. That type of music definitely can evoke a certain feeling. And so I think in order to create beautiful music, you need to be well versed in all types of music. And I know you feel the same way.
Speak a little bit more about you were reaching out for like 13 months, you said. Bro, it really takes like that sometimes. If you really want to get in somewhere, you got to be annoying.
No, you're right. And I remember sophomore year of college, it was a similar way when I worked at Downtown Recording, that recording studio here. And it took me forever to get in there. It's like you gotta just grind and grind and grind. But there's a certain persistence that you show when you do that.
Right.
And it basically says that I'm willing to be annoying as fuck to work here. Like I'm willing to knock on your door every day to work here. And that's the type of employee people want, So I'm totally willing to do that. I got over being annoying years ago. So I know you're a similar way because you're in a cutthroat industry, dude. So you gotta be just resilient.
I've been actually really making good money from recording and engineering, so that's really been exciting. But things line up, and when you start to notice, it's pretty cool. And then you just got to keep pushing because it's bound to, what goes around comes around. So there's always some obstacle you got to overcome. But
dude, I applaud you, man. I mean, you're grinding. I mean, every day you're grinding, and you're in a field where you have to in order to stay alive. So I think you're killing it. And you inspire me.
Wow, thank you, Chris. Thank you. That means a lot, dude. Seriously. Okay, so you're still based in the Louisville area. What are you seeing anything in the creative scene from an artist standpoint that's sticking out to you? Like what have you really realized about the Louisville creative scene in the past and currently? Like anything particular that's sticking out to you that you're seeing?
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. I'm definitely seeing an emergence in more artists coming out of Louisville, especially in hip-hop, so that's been really cool to see. But even more so than music, I think Louisville has really made art a priority in the city. And you see that from art that's being commissioned all over the city to murals that are on buildings to actual pieces of physical art that are on the streets. So I think Louisville has really made it a point to incorporate art into the part of the city, and especially in the past 5 years. I've definitely seen new developments in it. So that's been really cool. I mean, I think art makes a city 10 times more interesting at the end of the day. So, so
Absolutely.
Some of my favorite cities are just filled with murals and art. And I'm glad Louisville's finally trying to make that a priority. Even things like acting, like Jennifer Lawrence being out of Louisville and kind of holding it down for the actors. That's really cool to see as well. So I think we have a lot of talent here in Louisville. I think the past 5 years, we've definitely grown artistically, and I'm glad to see where that goes, like 5 years from now.
Yeah, well, okay, that's funny. One of the other questions is so it's a hard question to answer, but I literally ask you, what in 5 years, where do you see Louisville's artistic and creative scene?
Um, I don't think I see it being a cultural hub for art in the nation, but I see it continuing to go up. And I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised in 10 and 15 or 15 years, people aren't surprised to see artists coming out of Louisville, just like they would out of Atlanta or Florida.
Yeah, I've had a few people on here, at least one person particularly. She said Kyron was talking about she thought that eventually it could turn into a hub, and I thought that was interesting. I'm kind of more with you. I'm not. I mean, I love Louisville, but I don't know if it's not that we don't have the potential, but I just really can't see it being a hub like Atlanta or New York or
Right. It's tough
LA.
to imagine, dude.
But there definitely are very many, very very many good artists coming out of here.
Yeah.
So, and creatives in general, not just recording artists.
Right.
So that's something to think about, something interesting. I thought it was interesting when she said that, because I was like, wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think we want to believe, as people that have lived in Louisville all our life, that it's on its way up to this cultural just hub, and I want that to be the case so bad. But I think it takes a while to get there, and I do think we're on the right path to get there. But personally, I'd say we're around 10 to 15 years from really getting to that next.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
Point.
I could agree with that. Well, I talked a lot about this too. It's just the talent is there, bro. It's just the business side is not, dude.
It's not.
The business side is not there here.
I mean, how many studios are in Louisville? Like real good studios.
Well,
I mean,
there's
not many.
Yeah, well, there's been a bunch. There's been a bunch pop up. Really, like, have you heard about Huge Music Studios?
No.
You haven't? Well, it's literally right across the street from downtown recording.
Oh, really?
Yeah, on 4th Street. But I would say acoustically, bro, like downtown recording is probably the best, like in terms of rooms and like efficiency and professionalism. Downtown is probably the best that I've seen. We could talk about that for a while, but there's also, you ever been to La La Land?
No, I know a few friends that have recorded there, and I've seen the pictures. I've never been there personally.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place. That's a nice studio. I've never been to Huge Music personally, but then I also know there's the Coat Studio out in Middletown. I've never been there either. But people open up a lot of like home studios and stuff, and
yeah.
But
yeah,
studios, they're starting to pop up, but there's definitely got to be a lot more, and there's got to be a lot more like cohesiveness with the business side. Like people, I just feel like always hating and always trying to nickel and dime each other and trying to make quick money, man.
I'm interested in asking you about the home studio, because that brings up a really interesting topic. Like, do you think in the next 5 years, like, where do you think the home studio is going? I mean, do you think that one day professional studios are going to be out the door and things are really just going to be revolving around home studios? Where do you think that's going?
Honestly, I mean, at that point, yes, because people will be turning their homes into professional studios.
Professional studios, yeah.
Because you have access to all the equipment, and I mean the majority of the equipment. I mean, I've got a home studio right here. I've been recording.
Yeah, I'm sitting in mine. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Exactly.
And so, like,
yeah.
that's interesting though, because there's been a lot of, but I've thought about recently, if I'll be sitting down here the last couple of days just working on the podcast or making music, mixing stuff. Yeah. It's like, man, like I would love to have a place to go instead of doing all of this at home. Honestly, like it just, for me personally, like sitting in the same spot all day is just like, and then getting up and like going in the next room and that's your like bedroom. I don't know. I've been thinking about that recently, and I would like to have even if it's not a professional studio, even like a little warehouse spot or something, just that I could set up a dope, like really cool little spot to go and record.
It makes it that much more professional too,
What?
It makes it that much more just like professional too.
Yeah, exactly.
Having your own spot.
And then, it also can come down to the clientele you're working with, people you do or don't want to bring over to your house, stuff like that. There's things for consideration, really.
Yeah, absolutely. You're totally right.
That's a good question though, because
I mean, dude, it'd be
honestly,
cool to have that. I mean, I'll have people over, and it's like, all right, here's my setup. There's my bed.
yeah,
It's like all one thing, which is cool and it's efficient when it's just me because I'm able to just like work simultaneously with like my regular life. But when you have people over and you're trying to make a career out of it, I feel like there should be a little bit of separation.
yeah,
You know.
that's a good point.
All right. So, would you want to? Do you want to focus on hip hop?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. Well, this guy I've been recording recently that I met through Nick at Downtown Recording. His name is Odine
Okay.
Mays, and he used to sing with the Temptations and Cool
Oh,
in the
for
Gang,
real? Wow.
and he had all this equipment, this home setup. He's got like 10 or 12 keyboards, and he needed all of them hooked up to these Apollos and into his Slate Raven monitors to work and into Pro Tools. So he hired me, and I did that. And he pays me, and I go over there, and I hooked it all up, and we got it all. It all is officially working just of like this week.
That's
But
awesome.
he is recording a lot of gospel music for his church, and I get to record it. So that, it's beautiful music, and it's a nice break from hip hop. But I would say that I'm not gonna say I'm gonna focus on it, but that's the majority of the work that I've ever gotten has been hip hop, and that's just kind of what I know musically. Not
Yeah.
only, but like again, like I mean, I like a lot of jazz, like we were talking about earlier, but and various other forms of music. But I guess I wouldn't say focusing on hip hop, but I'm definitely able and willing to work on it, so
Yeah. Cool. Have you thought about putting out your own like solo project at any time?
yeah, if I did
Because
that,
I know you did
it
in the
would,
past.
huh?
I know you've done that in the past.
Yeah, well, it's funny. I meant to say something earlier, sooner, but we did my song "Hoop Dreams." Man, you were on that intro. Remember that?
Yeah. I
Those
do.
vocals?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah.
But I've thought about that recently, doing like an album, but I would be like a producer, executive producer, and then I would mix it too. But I would want to be like, I don't really rap, and I really can't sing, and I want to be involved, almost like Swizz Beats. I'm not gonna say DJ Khaled, because I mean I love DJ Khaled, but I'm definitely more musically
Inclined,
aware
yeah.
and involved and musically conscious than he is. I'm not gonna obviously DJ Khaled is great, but he just is like, here, I got a beat, this is for you, which is a talent in itself. But
Right.
anyways, I want to be much more involved than like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No,
And
like an executive producer.
yeah,
And those are
but
getting more and more popular.
Even
now.
more, like I want to like sit with the artist and like like if I said like if I was rapping like a line, like what do you think about that? Like let's try to incorporate that, or I just don't want to be seen as like just I mean, I guess I'd be cool with being seen as just a producer, but somebody more like Swizz Beats, because he
Okay.
like he makes crazy beats, and a lot of producers, and especially in trap now, are just rapping over their own stuff, like Pierre Bourne, Sonny Digital, But I'm definitely at some point I am gonna put out some music.
I'm excited to hear that.
Well, Chris, it has been great having you on here. Do you have any last words to the
No,
viewers?
no. I'll do a little plug. Go check out my music
Yeah,
on
yeah.
Spotify or Apple Music. It's really anywhere where you listen to music. Just Chris Mikos.
Yeah, I've got-
I'd love
so
to hear what you
you're-
think.
Yeah, so we can pull you up on Instagram at chris.mikos, and
Yeah.
he's got a Spotify link, it looks like, on his IG,
Mm-hmm.
and it's on Apple Music too. You got it all on
Yep.
all streaming services,
Anywhere you listen to music. Yep.
and it's just Chris Mikos.
Yep.
Well, y'all be sure to look that up, hit him up. Again, chris.mikos on Instagram. Let him know what you think.